I appreciate you, Music Connection Magazine. What's up with it? You stick with me, I'm gonna stick with you no matter how big we get. I'm already pretty big.
So Andre Taylor, Gorgeous Dre, thanks for rocking with us at Music Connection. Take us to the beginning. You know, how you got started off in this game, in this urban culture that we live in.
Ooh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people know me from the movie American Pimp, which I was a technical advisor of and put the majority of the guys in the film, not everybody, but the majority I put in the film. The Hughes brothers' father was in the lifestyle, and they wanted an expose about this lifestyle, right? And so they start going around asking questions. And ultimately, they got to my father and I, right? And when they got to me, you know, I was living in a mansion in San Francisco, Forest Hill, and they was like, you know, we've never seen anybody in this lifestyle with the amount of success that you're having. You know, will you help us with the film? And I said, of course I will. You know, you guys hire me. So they gave me about $15,000. And at the time, they weren't giving anybody any money because they said in documentaries, I'm talking about the people that they were listening to come on. They said documentaries don't pay money because they're documentaries. And I say, yeah, I get that. But you're going to have to at least give these guys at least $1,000 that I'm going to introduce to you, you know, just out of respect. And they agreed to that. So everybody that I put in the movie, I got them at least $1,000, even though you don't get paid in documentaries, right? So it was it was interesting because, you know, I told them that there's so many different levels in that life, and that I would try to show them every level of the game, you know what I'm saying? The different characters, because there's just a lot of characters in that lifestyle, you know? And so, you know, we went all over the country filming people, and it was, they created something that kind of changed the term pimp, you know what I'm saying? Pimp my ride, pimp my MySpace. It became an American acceptable word, you know? And I was fascinated by that, right? And was happy to be a part of working with some real filmmakers too. I don't think I would have done it with anybody else. I had hesitated to do the film. And Alan Hughes said to me, before you say no, let me just say this to you. I said, well, what? He said, Dre, man, do you know that everything that's done on film goes down in history? I said, damn, down in history? It appealed to my ego, you know what I'm saying? So I said, man, I think I might change my mind. I think I might do it. You know, I think I might want to be associated with some history, you know? So we did the film. Consequently, I remember they were telling me we don't have an end to American Pimp. And not many months after that, I caught a case in Vegas. And they was able to come into the jail to film. People were asking, how the hell would the Hughes brothers get clearance to come into jail? I mean, they really brought me out my cell. They was able to film me in my cell, you know? And they said, we'll end the movie with you, in which they did, you know? I said, the pimp came as a lonely one, and the silhouette came. But it was an experience to this day. I'm appreciative that some of the real story was made. I wish that there could have been another story made called American Prostitute or American Hoe, you know, because if this is what guys do, the majority of that is what a woman participates in, and for them to tell the story, because there's such a misconception, you know. When I caught my case, there was a young girl in my case, you know, but she had told me that she was older. So when we went to trial, and when I lost that trial, that was my my get back, you know what I'm saying? So recently, maybe within the last year, when I was hired, I'm going a little bit before, we'll catch back up. I was hired by the mayor of Seattle to be the consultant or the street czar in that city, you know? And boy, why did she do that? Because Fox News, the Daily News from Europe, everybody everywhere was going crazy. Oh, she hired this pimp. Woo, woo, woo. Oh, they just went crazy. They did not like the fact I wasn't in the lifestyle for over 20 years. I've been married, a married man for 23 years. You know, I'm a square. But they just would not let that go. Oh, and it was just hard. It was a hard time for me trying to defend myself, you know. But we'll get into this later. Because of that, you know, my achievement in Seattle, Washington, was able to lead this whole country in police accountability. We was able to create an organization up there because they killed my brother in 2016. I went up there from LA, and in 3 years' time, we changed the law. And Washington State have the worst law on police accountability. Because in Washington State, in order for you to hold a police officer accountable, you have to prove that that officer had malice. What's malice? You had to prove what he was thinking in his mind at the time of the shooting. That's impossible. So for 35 years, not one officer has been held accountable for unjustified use of force. So when they killed my brother, I thought that was unacceptable. And I came up there to fight for my little brother. And while I was fighting for my brother, I started fighting for other people that start losing their loved ones too. You know? Mm-hmm. So we changed the law. We led this country. First time that law enforcement was defeated. And so much so that they had to get on board. Mm-hmm. Right? So today, Washington State is the only state that has a police accountability law. Other states are trying to follow suit. But that's from our work, the work of my organization, not this time. Right? So that's why the mayor hired me, because she seen the success of me passing the law. And she felt like what would be a better person to help us with this but Andre. He has proven it, not what he says, but what he has actually accomplished. But oh man, the media, they wasn't going to let it go. So I said, okay, no matter what I do, no matter how big it is, no matter how big of a redemptive story that I have, the media wants to throw this up in my face. So I tell you what, I'm going to find a platform that celebrates my story, that allows me to tell my story as raw as I want to tell it, and that's coming back to music. So I said, that's what you want? You want to hear about my story so bad? Because no matter what I do, that's what you bring up. So I'm going to wear your ass out. You want to hear it? I got it for you, because I can tell it better than you. And I'm going to use this vehicle of music to tell the raw story, my testimony, what I've lived through, what I've conquered. I'm about to tell it. And that's what ultimately got me to doing this music back again.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So tell us about your new project, Many Shades of Dre. Many
Shades of Dre is my personality. I'm spilling out in the world. Of course, there was the stuff when I was in the lifestyle. But then there's other things about my personality that I want to share. I want to share about the ladies' man, all right? I want to share, there's a song on there that's called Trust Me, and it has a little rock, hip-hop mix to it. I think it's going to do very, very well because it's so different, right? Reminds me a little bit of Run DMC when they worked with Aerosmith, mm-hmm. and also Tone Mac when he brought his little hip-hop rock out. Mm-hmm. So, Trust Me is that kind of feel. And probably people are not going to believe that I did this, you know. But when Body Count was first coming out, about Ice-T's crew, I used to practice with Body Count, you know, and sing with them, you know. And I always had an affinity for rock and hip-hop put together, you know. So Many Shades of Dre is the many parts of my personality, you know. The guy who was in the game as a pimp, but the ladies' man also, the rock side, you know what I'm saying, and the conscious side. So it's just a collaboration of all the different personalities that I am.
Absolutely. And speaking of which, tell us about some of your musical inspirations.
You know, there's a lot of people that I like, you know, from rock to hip hop to, you know, to jazz. And I also love Pavarotti. I love the Three Tenors opera. I remember when I was younger, my father and I used to watch the Three Tenors, and I thought it was just so fascinating. You know, I started having it on my answering machine back in the day, and people were like, "Dre, who is that?" I said, "Oh, that's the Three Tenors." So I love all genres of music, you know. And my uncle was into music really heavy. he wrote the hit song for the SOS band, Baby You Can Do It, Take Your Time, Do It Right. My uncle Harold Clayton wrote that song, and I remember being with my aunt and uncle, and his group would be practicing downstairs all the time. So at a young age, that influenced me, and then when he hit big, when the song became a hit, it was really something else, to see both sides on it, the practicing side, but then when you make it side, So I've always had an affinity for music. The magic about music is unjudging. It doesn't judge you, There's some country songs that say some really, really deep stuff. There's some rap songs that say it doesn't judge you. It gives you a line of expression like no other venue, which is probably why at this point of my life, music is coming back to the forefront, because just some things that I want to say. I don't want to have to worry about being in a political realm. I don't want to worry about any of it. I want to be able to say it the way that I want to say it, to express it the way that I want to express it. And music at this point is that vehicle for me to do so.
Absolutely. All right, so tell us about your inspiration. What motivates you?
My wife is my biggest motivation. She's been with me. We've been married 23 years. And for a person that was in the game, people are shocked when I tell them that, But for her to have been with me through the trenches, those hard times when I didn't have no money. Because when I met her, I didn't have any money. They took all my money from me. And I was facing a major case. And when I finally told her, I'm going to eventually go to jail. I'm not no expert at running from the police. So they're expert at chasing people, so I'm going to eventually go to jail, And she said, if you do, I'm going to be there for you. People say a whole bunch of things, but she really was there. Never missed a visiting date, because when you're in the feds, they move you all over. So they moved me from Vegas. First I was in San Diego, then when they got me, the marshals and all that, and they had to send me back to Vegas. She's from San Diego, so she moved to Vegas to support me. And then when I got sentenced, they moved me to Tucson, Arizona. So she had to move down there. Then they moved me to Victorville, so she moved over with my father. And just stay dedicated and down. And I appreciated her for that. Love her, and she's beautiful. But just the inside of her is equally as attractive. So she's my biggest motivation of all. And I was thinking about the time that I would be able to get back on my feet and to reward her, even though I was her reward, she says. But as a man, you want to do something for your woman, you know what I'm saying? So it was wonderful for me to be able to reward her and thank her for her commitment to me, and helping me throughout these years, So she's my motivation.
Absolutely. So are you spiritual at all?
Of course.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk to us about
Well, I think that most people, especially in the street life, people on the outside might think that those people could not have any knowledge of God, but though they probably have more knowledge of God than you, because the things that we are willing to do that sometimes may cost our life. You know what I'm saying? So you got to have some belief in you and faith in you, that the Most High, is going to help you or bring you through, So, that has been a key cornerstone in my life, and I'm not really religious per se, even though I had some religious experiences when I was younger, and I know it sounds corny, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual, but I don't choose to think with a religious mind, you know what I'm saying, because I think that is limiting. I think it's a limitation to that, and it probably turns a lot of people off, because a lot of people throughout, time have had religious minds and done some of the most wicked shit in the world, and even in today's time, not all preachers, but there are some preachers that do some wicked ass shit, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to be associated with that. I just want you to see through my work who I am, let it be a testimony to who I am as a person. Never lied to nobody, never cheated nobody, never told nobody, you know what I'm saying? Even being under those crushing circumstances, still never did that.
Okay, absolutely. Is there anything else you want to add?
Well, like I said, I'm excited at this junction of my life to do some music. A lot of people, when they're real young, they do music and they really haven't lived a lot of life. So after a couple of albums, it becomes redundant. You know what I'm saying? Until they go out and maybe try to experience other things, but then you're in a different level of life. You ain't in the streets no more. You're successful, so it's not relatable to the crowd that you first spoke to. See, me, I'm able, after I've done so much, I'm able to look back on everything, you know what I'm saying? And from the perspective of going through all those different circumstances, be able to convey to you the passion of all these different circumstances. When I felt like I wanted to be a ladies' man, when I was trying to get a girl, you know, what would I say to her? What made me different? You know, why would 8 girls be with me? And one dude that got a girlfriend, he better not look at another girl. You know what I'm saying? How can I convey that? You know, so I do certain things. Like I got a OnlyFriends page, Master Teacher Andre Taylor, OnlyFans page, and I like teaching. On my YouTube, I used to do something called Daily Fire, which for 1 year I just taught and gave information, right? Because normally, like several years ago when I was life coaching, it was $300 an hour. You know, because a lot of people that have relationship and women problem want to holler at me because they know if anybody know, that guy know. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I used to have lawyers and of all nationalities and everybody getting in contact with me to tell me their situations and how could I help them. You know what I'm saying? I make good money until I start getting to the police accountability stuff, and I just didn't have the time anymore. But I can convey so much through my music is what I'm ultimately saying. You know, I'm not a one-trick pony.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what advice would you give to any artist, musician trying to come up in the game?
Well, you know, there's a lot of people that are extremely successful in the music game. You know, and I think that the pathway that they've taken, you know, is probably an easier pathway than when I chose to get into the music, because people feel like you're older and woo woo woo. But when you are older and still look young and hella good, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Still can trap women and still, you know, dudes think you a player, you cool, and they know you from that, you know. That gives me an advantage, but that's not really how the music industry go. They try to get those youngsters. You know what I'm saying? But youngsters have limited information. They can make you sound good, make you want to dance and everything. I want to make people dance too. I want to sound good too. But then I want to have some depth to the things that I'm telling people at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that's what we've done with Many Shades of Grey, with Many Shades of Dre. You know, there's some depth, there's some fun, you know, but there's depth to what I'm saying. There's something you can learn. It's just like in my song that's right now on BET Jams and World Star, Knockin' Season. I call it this Knockin' Season, where we redo a scene in the movie The Mac where Pretty Tony knocks Goldie for his girl, you know. So we redid that whole scene for the intro of Knockin' Season. You know, but there's some really deep shit in Knockin' Season. Not only does it have an incredible groove, not only is you just like, man, that sounds good, and the hook is just phenomenal. You know, one of the lines is, you know, maybe I shouldn't spoil it. You know, maybe you guys go see it. But the first step of knocking a bitch is confidence. It don't matter what you say, just believe it. It don't matter what you do. It just goes so, it's just so it goes so deep. If you think about that when I'm talking to people, you know, the first step on getting a girl interested is your confidence, not what you look like. But it's something about confidence that comes from the inside out that a girl is attracted to. That's why you see some men that are maybe not be as attractive with some beautiful women. People are like, how this happen? It's just something about his confidence that she's attracted to. It's appealing. So I said the first step on knocking a bitch is confidence. It don't matter what you say, just believe it, right? So it's true. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how my music is. You know, I'm telling a testimonial of my life and what I've lived. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And where online can people find you? Social media handles?
Yeah, at Real Gorgeous Dre on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, Andre L. Taylor on Facebook. My music is on BET Jams. I have 3 videos right now on World Star. I think the first one called Like Me, it's about 5.2 million views. That's pretty good for a person just starting out. You know what I'm saying? My other ones are doing great as well. But I guess there's an advantage if you have some money that you can put into your own project. You know what I'm saying? Where you could play from a position of strength. You don't have to wait on somebody to believe in you. If you believe in you, you can put the money down for what you believe in. You know what I'm saying? So it makes it easier for me to do what I want to do, but because you got to spend the money, it makes it harder. You know what I'm saying? But I got to bet on me. Who else gonna bet on me? I got to bet on me. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's easier for me. There's guys that say, man, put me on. I was like, man, you've been doing music before me. What you mean, put me on? Yeah, but I don't got the connections and all that. I think it made it a little easier for me because there is something that people can look back on and remember me from. Oh man, that's Gorgeous Dre from American Pimp. You know what I'm saying? Then I got a whole new audience by accomplishing police accountability. It's like those two don't mix. How did this shit mix? Okay, he was a pimp and now he's a social justice warrior? What the hell? You know? But that's the many shades of Dre. That is exactly what that means. The many shades. You know? I'm not just one this, I'm not just one that. You know? Yes, sir.